What's happening, YouTube? It's your favorite two brothers you ever see on the live stream, Lamont Tyson, the living legend, Larry. We are finally back. We've got all our stuff together, and we're here to bring y'all that live content. Now, Larry be on that yak, y'all. He be trying to get me in trouble. And I'm not going to let him get me in trouble today. He might get y'all in trouble, but he ain't going to get me in trouble. Larry, tell the people what's been going on with you before we jump into what we're going to discuss today.
Man, just, the whole thing, staying in isolation, trying to, avoid that Rona.
Oh,
I'm just
it
saying.
It looked like you drinking a Corona.
I'm just saying, you gotta be careful about the Rona.
Man, look, man, don't drink that Rona, man. Ain't no telling what they put in that Rona.
That's Rona juice right there. Rona juice.
oh, that's what they're gonna start network marketing next. The Rona juice.
Rona juice.
So we've got our brother Tim already in here. What's up, brother Tim? You know we love you, homie.
What's up, Big Tim? I see him in the house.
Yaleen Concepcion, what's up? And ladies and gentlemen, I have here in my never nicotine stained fingers what we're going to cover on this show today. So we're going to talk about number one, celebrities that got the Rona and why you don't care. Then we're going to go down the politics of chaos. And then we're going to finish up on what are you watching to occupy your time while you should be at home, be in quarantine, taking care of your family. Larry, the living legend.
Right.
Name some celebrities that you know got the Rona.
Let's see. Idris Elba's got the Rona.
I do care that he's got it.
Yep. I care he's got it. I'm hoping that he gets through it just fine. I'd like to see him as Black James Bond or James Black. And I know, as we all know, Tom Hanks and his wife have the Rona.
They got the Rona.
I heard today that Rand Paul has the Rona.
He's got the Rona. And you know what? I give two fucks about him having the Rona. Let me explain to you why. When the Rona first hit, he was one person that came out of his mouth and said that he believed it was a hoax.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, man. And what makes it even worse, he's a medical doctor.
Yeah.
Bruh.
Yeah, he is.
Look, bruh, I understand that at times politics can be just like WWE, but when we have so many people nowadays that think they're smart, they think they're on that D knowledge, they don't know what they're talking about, and you are an MD, one of very few MDs in politics, you should have a duty to tell the people the real truth and not make up stuff and say that it's a hoax and now your butt got stuck with it.
Yeah.
He's in my category of celeb / politician. I don't care.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate when you have people out there that actually do have the education and the knowledge to share real information. Instead, they choose to just, go off on some conspiracy deep end. But, I guess maybe he'll change his tune now.
I hope so. Now, who else got the Rona? I got two people on my list I don't care about, and Rand Paul was one of them. Who else?
Who do you have on your list?
Oh, the people I could give two fucks about?
That's right.
The other one is Harvey Weinstein.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that he has the Rona. He's locked up in jail with the Rona.
No, they put him on isolation, but it can be dangerous for him now. So I might walk it back because he's got underlying heart issues too. So this could be catastrophic for him. But
this could be.
But I know a lot of people suffered at his hands. And I know some of it might have been drummed up, but some did suffer. I really don't care that he's got the Rona. Yeah.
I mean, it's unfortunate, but, I don't want to say it's karma, but that's some crazy-ish right there. What's crazy, too, is that because he has the Rona, they're not going to be able to transfer him to California so he can go stand trial out there. So I don't know what the deal is going to happen with that.
He's got to go and do the state trial, too.
In California, he's up on charges in California, but they're not going to transfer him out there right now because of the whole quarantine.
What? Man, I'll be a duck on a June bug. That, bruh, God, so be more careful. This guy here, really?
Went straight North Carolina on us.
Hey, North Carolina is in the house. I done seen some people in here repping North Carolina. We all up in the house, baby. You know
North Carolina, throw your hands up.
Yeah, man. Just because you a city slicker don't mean that us Southern folks can't stand up. We can stand up.
Man, you know what's crazy is this weekend on Saturday, my wife and I, we drove into DC because we were thinking about excuse me, we were thinking about just going for a walk. So I was like, well, we'll walk down from like the Capitol to the Lincoln and back, and that'll put in some good miles right there. But it's the peak bloom for the cherry blossoms, and they canceled the Cherry Blossom Festival, obviously, but they still peak bloom. And there were so many people out there that we were like, there's no way in the world that we can maintain good social distancing, not even just walking around, because there were so many people on the National Mall. There were so many people out there on the tidal basin where the cherry blossoms are. And so we drove around there a little bit just to see how bad it was. It was crazy. Then we drove over to the waterfront, to the wharf, and there was a lot of people down there. And we were just like, this is nuts. So we basically just kept on. We never got out of the car. We just drove home and just went for a walk around the neighborhood because we were like, at least we can maintain some social distance out here. But and then the next day, Governor Hogan from Maryland and what's his name from Virginia here where I'm at, and Mariel Bowser from DC, they all got together and talked, and I guess they decided to close off a bunch of streets and close down part of the tidal basin to keep people from going out there because they were like, this is crazy, People just aren't adhering, and it's unfortunate because if people don't self-isolate, if they don't do the whole social distancing thing, then the government's going to step in and impose mandatory measures. And then you're talking about a whole mess because now you're talking about infringing on people's civil liberties. And it's just, it's going to be ugly if they do that.
Okay. Well, they've done that in North Carolina. As a matter of fact, our governor has said as of Wednesday at 5 p.m., all businesses are to shut down because people don't know how to keep their hind parts home. And let me give y'all a story.
Damn.
Kid from UNC Wilmington goes down to Florida to go to the beach with all the young folks that got on social media saying, hey, man, I'm still going to go party rad, dude. I'm still fucking partying, man. I don't care about no Rona. I'm going down here to this beach. What do you think happened to this brother, Larry, that goes to UNC Wilmington? He comes back with the Rona.
He came back with the Rona. Wow.
Comes back with the Rona. And I guess the governor in Florida learned his lesson because he wound up shutting down the beaches. But what people don't understand, most of the time with politics, things are done for a financial gain.
Right.
These politicians and these states and these businesses are seeing that their power is leaving because people are getting sick.
Right.
People are having to stay out of work. And that's why, even though they're acting late, now all of a sudden they're concerned because that's dollars coming out of their pocket. That means that the people that supply them their campaign contributions are losing money, so now they have to act. But this ain't the political section yet. We're going to get on that in a few minutes. We're going to help y'all out. If y'all had the Rona, we're going to talk that bitch right out of y'all. If y'all had it, we're going to get the Rona out of you. Larry, give me the rest of your celebs that you want to see. Your celebs that have the Rona, and you could care 2 cents about it.
Man, I'm trying to think who else may have it that I remember. I mean, I've heard a few of them on there, but to be honest with you, I care so little about them, and I know that sounds messed up, but I care so little about them that even when I hear it, it kind of goes in one ear and out the other. I'm kind of like, okay, they have it. I don't know them, I may have seen 1 or 2 of their movies, but it's not like that's my homeboy or something. So I just really, I mean, I don't want anybody to have it. It's not like I'm saying I don't care, as in I want them to die and I hope they get it. It's just when I say I don't care, it's as in, literally they have it, and it is of absolutely no consequence to me in my life.
Right.
If they get it or they don't get it, I mean, it's just really, it means nothing to me. I hope they don't get it, because I don't want anybody to get it. And when I say I hope they don't get it, it's in the more global sense, whereas I hope no one gets it.
Right.
But that's really it. It's not like I'm sitting around thinking, oh, I'm so worried. I hope Kim Kardashian doesn't get the Rona. I mean,
she got something
real.
else.
I mean, if she gets it, I'm sorry she's got it, but it's not affecting me.
Now, to my people that always say, why do I look down? I'm responding to people that are posting and commenting up here. That's why occasionally you'll catch me looking down and laughing. And I try to fill Larry in on some of our top comments. And I want to shout out my man, Tim Windsor. Tim Windsor has been following me and Larry from day one, like 2015. Honestly, this brother needs to start his own YouTube channel.
For real,
he has become such a big person in posting on not just our channels. He spreads his support to everybody, and everybody's always showing Tim love. Yeah. Tim has to go and work during the Rona because he's an essential personnel. And Tim, we salute you, brother. Keep doing what you're doing. Try to be as safe as possible, because we all want to make sure you keep coming back, man, because if there was anybody that could get me to have a Rona other than Larry, it'd be my man Tim. And I don't even drink.
Tim, I have a Rona waiting for you. So I have a Rona waiting for you.
No doubt. No doubt. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I'll give you the list of celebs, man. Idris Elba, as he already said, his wife has put herself on self-quarantine. The redhead dude from Game of Thrones. Rand Paul. Yeah, man, he got the Rona.
He's got the Rona?
He's got the Rona, man. He's the one, he was a wildling. I would have thought he wouldn't have got the Rona.
Yeah, but I thought he would have been immune to everything.
Yeah, the Rona knows no boundaries. It knows no wildling. It knows no human blood that it doesn't like. If it's got blood, it's going to roam in it because it's the Rona. And several other NBA stars have gotten it. Kevin Durant, 2 Lakers have gotten it. Donovan Mitchell. And here's another one. I don't really care. The guy that plays center for the Utah Jazz, he was also caught on camera making fun of
the microphones.
Yeah, making fun of it, licking desktops and stuff, kissing the floor. And then he winds up getting it and gave it to 2 other members of his team. I saw memes all over the place about the best starting 5 in the world got Rona. Kevin Durant, him, Donovan Mitchell, and old boy from the Boston Celtics. You put them up against anybody, and they are going to defeat them, period.
Especially now when they can give them the Rona.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
They just won't even show up.
They're not going to show up. We're good. I mean, the Rona is almost like Father Time. Almost, not quite. And so, having said that, let us go on ahead and pivot to what affects us in our daily lives. We like to call it politics, American politics. And we're going to break this down, how what they're doing in Washington or what they're not doing trickles down to us in the way that they claim trickle-down economics should work. And we all know that that shit is a lie. Trickle-down economics is a front. It is a stalwart to keep people at bay, wishing on a damn star. Right. Now, what me and Larry want to know, and I want you guys to comment, hit us up, let us know what you think. What we want to know is, how is it that every time there is chaos, be it a hurricane, be it Katrina, be it towers go down, anytime there's a chaos, we've heard politicians quote, "You can't let a good crisis go to waste." And what does that say to them? They want to spend money that comes out of all of our pockets in terms of being taxpayers. Right. And so what's going on right now is they're trying to give these relief bills. They're trying to do a stimulus package where the majority of people are going to be getting $1,200. And then what happened just yesterday.
But let's be clear about this. We'll get all $1,200. These corporations are going to get about $1 trillion.
Oh, I was just about to get to that.
With a T.
I was just about to get to that.
Trillion.
I was just about to get to that. So what they're getting ready to do with the corporations is something that's happened in the past that I hate, which is basically write them a blank check and not put any strings on it, which is why the Democrats said, no, we're not going for that.
Right.
Their Mitch McConnell's bill was heavy. Give away all this. Now, mind you, they've already infused the stock market with $1 trillion.
Right.
That's to help big business.
Right.
Then y'all about to just write them a blank check for another $1 trillion. And then on the back end, leave it to them to trickle down money to the people that are helping stand these buildings up, stand these businesses up, like my man Tim.
And it doesn't trickle down. What happens is when they give these companies all this money, what happens is they do stock buybacks. And they do that and hold the stock, so it drives their stock price up, so their shareholders end up with more profits. And their company becomes more valuable. They never actually send that money down the pipeline to help the employees or the consumers or reduce cost or anything else. They just don't do it. And I mean, the reality of it is, if anything, they should let these companies sink or swim. Because I've heard politicians on there telling people, oh, these people should be able to survive. If they can't go to work for 2 weeks or for a month or 2 months, they should be able to survive. If they haven't saved money and they've been financially irresponsible and they don't have enough money, enough of a rainy day fund to last even for 2 weeks, then that's just bad planning. Well, guess what? If you're an airline or if you're any other kind of business and you haven't saved up and had a rainy day fund so that you can't live without your business operating for 2 weeks or a month, then the same attitude should hold true. You just had bad planning, and guess what? You're going to have to suffer the consequences. Because I can tell you right now, I'm okay. 2 weeks out of work, I'm good. 3 weeks, good. I can go a whole year. I'm good. You know, I mean, we plan, but I'll be honest with you. My wife and I, we are what is categorized as super savers, and partly because we make decent money, and partly because I get a gang of free crap, so I don't have to buy all my electronics mostly. But you know, part of it too is we just understand the value of needing to have money for an emergency, but not everybody has that luxury. Let's just be real. Saving money is a luxury. People don't always think of it like that, but it is. The fact that you can pay your rent, pay your car note, pay your bills, and still have money left over that you can save is a luxury.
Definitely agree. And the one thing that they always teach us that we're supposed to control as consumers, it's hard to control what you bring in as income, but it's easy for you to control your expenses. That's one of the, I would say, crony capitalistic lies they tell you. Because if that applies to the average consumer, why does that not apply to big business every time there's a chaos? Every time there's a crisis? Every time one of these businesses that they claim are the cornerstone to American society looks like they're getting ready to go under, here we come to the rescue. Every time. And ladies and gentlemen, that is called corporate socialism. Y'all know that dirty word they keep trying to tell you is bad in this country. It's bad if it's for the average American, but it's good if it's for those few CEOs that sit up there and take Brazilian babes behind their backs' wives to the Himalayas and do Himalayan things. It's okay for them, but it's bad
for welfare.
It's bad for you. And so far, what we have seen from this administration is bumbling from the outset. The president of these United States came out and said that the thing was a hoax back in January.
And people should understand this. Just a little bit of an idea of the magnitude of this bailout. This bailout they're talking about is about 10% of our GDP. I mean, we have the largest economy in the world. You're talking about 10% of our GDP as a bailout.
Well, let me give them the number, because you know, my non-nicotine stand hands, I got the numbers. America makes up 3% of the world's population. Think about that. We're some 330 million people in America. We make up 3% of the world's population, but we consume 1/5 of all products. We consume 20%
percent.
of all goods produced in the world, and we're only 3% of the population. Ladies
Yeah.
and gentlemen, that's a bubble waiting to burst.
Yeah.
That I mean,
That's not sustainable.
no, that's like a whitehead on a teenager's face. It's waiting to pop. That zit is about to happen tomorrow. And when these type of events happen, it shows you just how hypocritical your politicians are. Now, they don't want things that could benefit the greater good of everybody unless
Right.
there's a crisis. And even with this crisis, they're trying to put limitations on the very people that need it.
Right.
Now, for some of you detractors out there that might be saying, oh, well, since you have all the answers, what would you do? Well, damn it, I got the answers. And if you watched my video earlier, I gave y'all the answers then. And some 500 of y'all already done watched that video I dropped at 6 o'clock. So Larry, before I give them what I would do, tell them what you would do.
I'll be honest with you. Some of the stuff that I would do would probably be very self-serving in some respects. One of the things that I would do would be to tell people, I'm eliminating all student loan debt, period. Done. Because for a lot of people in this country, that means you no longer are going to have to pay $200, $300, $400 a month or more throughout the course of not just this, this pandemic, but maybe for the next 10, 20, 30 years, depending on how long your loans are financed for. I mean, you're talking about really helping people economically through this process and forward. And I would basically allow all of these companies that had, who had not set aside anything, I would let them fail. I would honestly let them fail. There would be some things that I would nationalize. I know people don't like the idea of nationalizing certain industries, but I think I would nationalize our airline industry. I would declare, internet, both home and mobile, like mobile cellular services. I would declare all that stuff as public utilities.
Okay.
And regulate them as such. I would not allow there to be, the possibility that someone can just randomly have their stuff turned off. We have seen through this process that internet service is not some luxury item that you have and people should be able to turn off and on. No, it's a utility. It's like having the electricity or heat in the wintertime. You need it. That's it. Period. And as far as I would nationalize the airlines. I would just simply say, you guys have run these airlines ineffectively, for decades now. Anyways, they keep going bankrupt. We're just going to take it over. Period. I mean, let's be real. Our military is nationalized. The military is an industry. Now when they talk about the military industrial complex, now you're talking about building weapons, and that's something different. But we already have certain industries that are nationalized. Like our police services are nationalized, or at the local level, they're not nationalized, but they're handled by the government statewide or locally. So there's already industries like that. The same with the fire departments. These are all things that in the past were handled by private industry, but they found that it wasn't effective doing private industry. Because if you were contracting with a fire department and your payment was late and your house caught on fire, well, your house would burn down. Well, now you don't have that. When the government takes over, your house catches on fire. It doesn't matter if you haven't paid your taxes and you're $500,000 in debt to the government. They come and put your fire out because they don't know and don't care what your tax statement is, and they need to do the same thing with the airline industry. In large part, airline travel has sort of become a utility now too. As much international business travel is going on, as much as people need to go from here to there to visit family and see their kids. If they're, like my brother lives in California, his kids live in Connecticut. He shouldn't have to worry about, can I afford $500 round trip? He should be able to go hop on a plane and pay $150 or whatever whatever rate it would cost to go see his kids. So there's certain things that I would do. Like I would nationalize. I would nationalize the airlines. I would make all internet and cellular services a consider them public utilities. I would wipe out student loan debt. And giving somebody $1,200 a month for a couple of months? No. I mean, I know that's easy for me to say. Some people out there are probably like, I need that $1,200, but I will not take my $1,200 to know that these rich ass, already rich corporations and individuals are not going to all of a sudden get a $1 trillion bailout from our pockets. Because I guarantee you, if you calculate out that $1 trillion, it's going to come out to more than the $1,200 you're going to get in that check and your taxes over time. You're going to pay for that $1 trillion. It's just not going to, you're not going to feel it all at once, but you're going to pay for it. And they're going to be the ones getting it.
Not only that, but they're planning to tax that money too.
Right. So they give you $1,200 and tax it like it's a bonus. So now all of a sudden you're paying 40% tax on it.
The plan is to tax that money, bail and bail out the big corporations, only for you to take that $1,200 and then go spend it on those corporations that they bailed out. So
that's crazy.
So this is what I would do. I would do what the CDC taught Taiwan that was used in a country in Italy just this past week that has had over the last 10 days, and they are in the heart of Italy. 0 people popping up with coronavirus. Number one, divert all resources right now to getting the equipment to the first responders, the doctors, the nurses, and the respiratory therapists who are working with these people. I'm a former respiratory therapist. My wife is still a doctor. Get them what they need. Get a test available for anyone who has symptoms so that you can quarantine them and quarantine the people they've been in contact with and choke this thing off at the neck.
Right.
Choke it off at the neck. That way, everyone who's tested, and don't make them pay to get the test, for crying out loud. Set up drive-through tests somewhere so that the people who get tested and know that they don't have it can go back to work, can get back in commerce, can get the economy rolling again. Next, anyone who has to sit out, you extend the benefits to them. Our state done this wonky thing where we used to have unemployment benefits for 21 weeks, and under the last governor, they cut it down to like 10 or 11 weeks.
Right.
Anyone who is affected that needs to stay home, you go on ahead and you give them unemployment benefits until they can get back on their feet. And then with the corporations, you are selective. And
can I stop you right there for a minute?
Yeah, go for it.
So I think with the unemployment insurance, I agree with you. They need to extend it, but I think that instead of having unemployment insurance, they need to just have employment insurance, because there's a lot of people out there that may have jobs but cannot go to work. And for those people that don't know, who've never been on unemployment insurance, unemployment only pays you about 40, maybe 50% of your actual wages. So if you made $1,000 a month, you're only going to get about, $500 in unemployment insurance. Well, if anybody knows, if you live on a pretty narrow margin, you cut your income in half, you're not even coming close to paying your bills.
Nope.
And so they really need to have employment insurance where they can look at how much money you are currently earning. They have access to for most people who pay into their taxes on a biweekly basis or weekly or monthly, they know how much you're earning. They should be able to say, okay, you're making 70 grand a year. We're going to pay that out. We're not going to pay you a lump sum of 70 grand. But if you're bringing home, $2,800 every 2 weeks or something like that, we're going to go ahead and that's what your check is going to be. Mm-hmm. And let people have their normal wages so they can continue to live their lives until they can go back to work.
Right. I agree with that. Supplement people's health insurance. I mean, like I said, if there's ever a time you needed that, this is definitely now. You definitely got to get that going. And the other thing that I would do is for those that there's a lot of people that are into the gig economy. They're 1099 employees.
Right.
And so they don't get a, regular steady check. Go by what they filed on their taxes last year to make sure that they're getting those same funds until this economy turns around. And Larry, we just got a good question from Bowler Hampton. He says, if companies fall, what would happen to the jobs that they had? They would be out of work. What was your response to that?
Yep, there will be a lot of people out of work. And just like there's going to be a lot of people out of work right now. And so what happens is when you have companies that fail and go out of business, other companies come in to fill that void. So if you have, many of you may not realize that before, like, let's just say with the airline industry, before there used to be an airline called PSA. And I don't know if you guys remember PSA. They used to have these yellow planes, look like bananas. Well, guess what? They went out of business. Well, guess what else? Guess what happened after that? You got other airlines that came in, like Southwest and JetBlue and other airlines that came in and they filled those voids. And that's what happens when companies go out of business. People are not going to see money on the table and leave it on the table. They're going to come in and fill that void. And when they do, they're going to hire people. Sometimes they fill that void in ways that are more efficient. Sometimes they're just different. But they're going to fill that void, you know?
And this is where your student loan forgiveness will come into play, because if an industry happens to go out of business, at least someone can know that they can go get an education and do something different if they had to, and fill that void and wouldn't have to worry about what it's going to cost them to get into a new profession.
I mean, I don't want to see anybody suffer financially. I don't want to see other people. I don't want to see people lose their jobs. But let's just be real. Anytime someone's out there working for a company, you are at the risk. You're at the mercy of the people at the top running that business efficiently and effectively. I have worked for a couple of companies that have gone out of business, and I've been out of work. Now, it was on a small scale that happened, so it didn't affect a lot of people, so no one really cared. I had to just go out and find a new job. Same thing has happened to my brother numerous times. He's worked for startups. It was a good job for a period of time, and then the startup ran out of money, or they didn't get their second round of funding or whatever. He's out of work. It happens. You know, it's different when it happens at a large scale or with a large company. But guess what? When you have a large company that's irresponsible with their finances, that is just what happens. Somebody else needs to come in and fill the gap. I can tell you right now for a fact, let's just say that they don't nationalize the airlines and they just tell them, no, we're not bailing you guys out. And as a consequence, Delta and American Airlines and Alaska Air, they all go out of business. They all say we can't function anymore. We're just going out of business. They file for bankruptcy, start liquidating crap. Well, guess what happens? Southwest, who has run their business efficiently, might just say, you know what? We have all these routes that are available here, and there's planes that are now on the market selling for pennies on the dollar. We don't really have much of an international market. We fly to the Caribbean and Mexico, and that's it. We're going to start buying up all these planes that American Airlines is selling and Delta's selling, and now we're going to start flying to Europe. We're going to start flying to the Middle East and to Africa and wherever else, because now we actually have the ability to get these routes. And when you have regional airports that are basically at that point going to be begging airlines to come in, because they're going to say, hey, we're going to waive your gate fees for the next 5 years if you come in and take these routes, then it becomes financially, possible for these other airlines to expand quickly. And what happens? People who work for those other airlines, they come and they work for the new airlines. Why? Because they're already trained. You're looking for plane mechanics. You used to work for American Airlines. Well, guess what? Southwest now has 400 new planes. They need 400 new mechanics. You have flight attendants that used to work for Delta, and now some JetBlue is now flying international routes and has all these new routes. Well, guess what? These airlines that take over and expand, they need flight attendants and pilots. It's just all it's going to happen is they're going to move from one company to another. Now, will that affect them in their pay? Sure. Will it affect them in their benefit package? Maybe they won't have, they're not going to have the same seniority. That stuff happens, but I mean, that can happen with any industry. It's not the government's job. It's not the government's job to protect companies from their own fiscal irresponsibility. Paying shareholders and prioritizing your company's fiscal responsibilities, prioritizing paying shareholders and CEOs exorbitant salaries over fiscal responsibility. is that when you see the problems that come from that, it is not the government's responsibility, and ultimately not our responsibility to take care of those companies, because what happens is the governments just use our tax dollars to bail them out. And so it's not our responsibility to protect those companies. They're not protecting us. They're not protecting us. If I can tell you right now, if you're up there, if you lose your job today, and somebody let's say you live in New York, and a company down in Miami says, hey, we want you to fly down and come and interview for this job, and you're like, I can't afford to fly down there, and they're like, well, you have to come for an in-person interview. I'm sorry. Well, guess what? The airlines aren't going to bail you out. The airlines are going to be like, oh, we understand you have a job interview. Just hop on the next plane that has an empty seat and we'll fly you there and back. They're not going to do that. So why should we bail them out? Let them, I'm cool if they made the right financial decisions and they can afford to live and exist for a couple of weeks or a couple of months without passengers, and while they're grounded and they can come back, great, let them fly. If they can't, they go bankrupt, let them go bankrupt. It is what it is.
Right.
I just don't feel for them. I just don't, because they're not feeling for us. Not at all. So, it is what it is.
It's one thing to say that the government shouldn't be in the business of doing that, but the reality is they are, and it's never for the good of the American people. It's always for the good of the rich companies that pay lobbyists to make policy for these companies, which is why they keep bailing them out. And until we get a group, unfortunately, a group that's going to actually get in there and drain the fucking swamp, because I thought we've been getting the swamp drain, and all we did was put Swamp Thing in there with his whole damn family. They done made a castle in there.
It is the biggest damn swamp monster out there. It's just crazy.
And we're gonna pivot to this in politics, then we're gonna move on to something more fun. Okay. So it broke last week that at least 5 senators who had early access to what was going on with coronavirus months ago bailed on their stocks. They did a pump and dump.
Yeah. Well, they did a dump. I don't know if they pumped it, but they definitely dumped it.
They dumped and they pumped some of them other places. Okay. And now certain people are trying to defend these folks until we find out one Democrat done it, and now all of a sudden everybody wants to be a little mad, but they're more mad at the Democrat that did it than the rest of the crew that was Republicans that did it. And the chick that did it in Georgia, her husband works in Wall Street. He's like a CEO in Wall Street doing a fund or something to that effect. Larry, what should happen to these people? If you ask me, they need to suffer the same way Martha Stewart suffered. And I don't mean go to jail and then get to come back and make money with Snoop Dogg.
No, they need to go. I think one of two things should happen. They should just simply talk to these people quietly behind the scenes and say, here's the deal. You can quietly resign and leave office and no harm, no foul. You did some shadiness. You did what is basically insider trading. You profited off of it. And let this be known, that is all the profits you are going to get from this. So you can resign and we won't prosecute you. You keep your profits and that's that. Or they should prosecute them. They should charge them. They should drag their name through the mud. They should prosecute them. And when they're convicted, they should send them to jail.
Larry, under no circumstance should they not be prosecuted. None. Because had that been me and you, that could have been, let's say me and you, let's say they gave me and Larry ambassadorships to Italy and they gave me the ambassadorship to China. Since I ain't that tall, I'll fit right on in. And we knew about the coronavirus. And then we come home and we tell our wealthy donors, not our poor constituents or our middle-class constituents. We have a closed-door session with our wealthy donors, and we say XYZ is going to be coming, even though we're out here telling people it's a hoax. Drop your stocks because I'm dropping mine. That's exactly what Richard Burr in the great state of North Carolina did. If that was me and Larry and we were ambassadors, we'd be under the jail under the bus. We'd be more scum than Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, we'd be locked all the way up. I agree with you there. I mean, I want to see him prosecuted. My thought really is because they have violated the public trust. The first thing that needs to happen is they need to put up out of there. And if the quickest and easiest way to get rid of them is to cut a deal with them to say, look, resign and never run for office again, and you're good. I'm okay with that. I don't like what happened, but if that is the punishment that they are put out of office and never run again, then let that go. Because we do have bigger pressing issues to deal with right now. But if they're not willing to do that, then they should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
Well, I mean, Larry, if I know that I can go rob a bank for $1 million and my consequences is I pay a fine and avoid jail, or I'm gonna go to jail for a year for $1 million, I might take the 1 year jail. No.
Yeah, but see, that's the problem. You're gonna if you rob a bank for $1 million, you're gonna go to federal prison. But if you rob a bank for $200 million, then it's a different story. Now you're not talking about prison. Now all of a sudden you're talking about, it's too big. We can't just take this dude to jail. All of a sudden they want to know about you. They want to know how you did this, what you did, how can they prevent it? You have to go big. When you go big, everything changes.
Exactly.
Everything changes.
So go big on your punishment. Go big on that punishment. The American people don't get to do that. I mean, if they sniff that you're trying to cheat the lottery, if you go to a casino and they sniff you counting cards, they will arrest you.
Right. No, I feel you.
They will. Not only would they arrest you, they'll embarrass you, send you to jail, and then say you can't go into another casino in the United States of America unless it's on an Indian tribe, ladies and gentlemen.
Right. No, I feel you, and I don't get me wrong. I want to see these people prosecuted and locked up, but I feel like if the easiest and quickest way to get rid of them is to simply cut them a deal and make sure that they resign, I'm okay with that right now, But if they're not willing to resign, then I hope they prosecute them, and I hope they convict them and send them to jail.
Yeah. Yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, that's it for politics today. I can't have my blood going this high when I got to get ready to go to bed in a little bit because while everybody's on quarantine, it's very hard to get out here and work on them cuts. You know what I mean? It's very hard, very, very hard to do that. And
here you go.
Hey, man, I sat in this house just laying around with the wife, eating up everything. I scared her how much food I was just sitting around here eating up. She thought I turned into the Cookie Monster, just eating cookies left and right.
Man, I think I might make some snickerdoodles tonight. That sounds good.
Hey, man, look, bro, you can afford it in your fitness budget. I can't. My fitness budget is overdrawn right now, bro. So pivoting to what are you guys watching while you're supposed to be on quarantine? Larry,
a couple shout outs to people right quick. I see Willie Ingram in the house, Arlene Hicks in the house. What's up? Peaches, All right, okay. I just wanted to give a couple support gaming 2020s in the house. All right, there we go. I just had to give a couple shout outs to everybody.
So what are you watching, Larry, while we're on quarantine? And people out there following us, watching this right now, list us some shows that you're watching and why.
Man, what am I watching since I've been locked up? Man, mostly porn.
Oh my God, have mercy. Man, where the hell is your wife, man? Good Lord.
No, I'm messing with you. I just actually finished watching last night. I just finished watching that series, Hunters, on Amazon Prime. With it's executive produced by Jordan Peele. It's about a group of American Nazi hunters in the 70s, and it's legit. It's dark. It's real. I wasn't really sure what to expect, but it's dark. There's some pretty graphic violence in there, and so if you're watching that, just be prepared for that. But that's pretty good. it's a pretty great series. So that's what I just finished watching last night. I started watching a show on Hulu called what is it called? Looming Towers. It's sort of about it's about the workings of the FBI and the CIA and all them during the whole run up to the bombing of the Twin Towers, or the, I don't know what you call it, a bombing or attack on the Twin Towers. So, but they, it starts off with, where they're showing like the bombing in Nairobi, and then they're working their way towards like the first World Trade Center bombing, and they haven't got to the Twin Towers bombing yet, but it's about leading up to all that. So it's a good show so far. It's pretty good.
Okay. What else?
I have my regular shows that I watch. So like one of my shows I like watching is it's a comedy out of Canada called Kim's Convenience. Mm-hmm. And it's I don't know if you've seen it. It's basically about a Korean family who owns a convenience store, a grocery store. And it's just funny. The father is sort of like a Korean Archie Bunker, sort of, where he's sort of like this old grumpy dude, politically incorrect, but he's also fun loving, and he's always helping other people, even though he gives people a hard time about stuff. But he's, it's an interesting show. There's some really interesting dynamics in there. Like the oldest son is just been very westernized. Him and the father don't get along very well, but they also love each other very much, but they just don't get along because the younger son got into a lot of trouble when he was younger. But it's a comedy. It's just it's a good show. If you check it out, you may look at it and be like, oh, it's a little cheesy, but then after you watch it, you'll be like, this is actually a really funny show.
Right.
So I like that one. Some of the other shows I watch are just some of my regulars. Like people laugh, but I love watching some of my CW shows. Like I love watching Legacies. I like, before Legacies was on, I used to watch Vampire Diaries, and there was another one that was on there I used to watch. I still watch Supernatural.
Okay. Okay.
Let's see. I'm about to pull out my list now. Let me pull out my app and find out all my shows on my list.
I'll give them some of my shows I'm watching. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't seen the American version of Shameless, man, you will binge through that show. If you ever wanted to know what it was like for a trailer park trash type family to be living in the heart of the city in Chicago, and actually they had a black kid too, with like 5 white siblings. And I just mean any stereotype you've ever heard about those type of individuals, they put it in this show. And they're best friends with a black lady who's married to a white guy. Well,
right.
Okay, I'll leave it at that because I want y'all to figure out the rest of what I'm saying. But that is it's an excellent show. They make fun of everybody. They make fun of all the politics. The actors are outstanding. It's funny. It's timely. And I guarantee you, everyone in their family has had someone in there like the daddy, the main character in the family. I mean,
he is ridiculous. He is so ridiculous.
Dude is nuts, man.
Yeah.
I mean, like, he's not even your typical crackhead. He's a crackhead on a mission. You know what I mean?
He's super crackhead.
Yeah, man. He is nuts.
And the thing is, he's had so many opportunities to get his life right, but he wants to be a drug addict and an alcoholic. He enjoys it. He wants to be it. And he's constantly looking for ways to continue to be an alcoholic and a drug addict. I mean, it is absurd.
Absurd. And before YouTube slapped me on the wrist and told me I had to take a powder for videos I did 3 years ago, I was reviewing ABC's For Life. And I'm probably going to get back to doing that because that show is pretty good. It's the new show 50 Cent did to kind of fill the void while they're getting the Power universe together. I will probably get back to doing those reviews. My folk Mark Dart picked up where I left off and has been reviewing it while I've been gone. And now it's time for Daddy to come back and get back on reviewing these shows, bringing y'all that fire content.
Right. Here's a couple other ones. I have my list up here. So if you guys haven't watched Westwood, the season has just started back up. Or Westworld, excuse me. So Westworld is back. That's a HBO show. It's crazy. It's kind of about seems like about a robot apocalypse that's coming. But I won't tell you too much about it. Just check it out. It's a great show. The first season has a whole lot of naked Tandy Newton, so that's enough said. So let's see. Now this one, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but if you haven't, check it out. It's hilarious. It's called My Cartoon President, and it's on Showtime, and it's basically like an animated. It's an animated version of like the news and what's going on with the Trump administration, and they show like these inner workings with Trump and his kids and his wife and his advisors and the news. It is the most ridiculous, funny thing you have seen in a long time. And what's his name? Stephen Colbert created the show. I believe he writes it, he produces it. But it is hysterical. It's called My Cartoon President. So, okay. Do you, Lamont? Do you watch Black Monday?
Nope, never seen it.
Oh, do you know about the show?
I've never heard of it.
Oh man, you have to watch it. So Black Monday is sort of like a dark comedy show. It's sort of like a dark comedy dramedy, but it's with Don Cheadle and I can't remember the woman's name. That's the actor, but it's basically about a black guy who starts an investment house on Wall Street. And so he's running this place. He's wild and crazy. You know, he's a black dude, so he's obviously an outsider. He's always hustling. And if any of you remember the big crash, the big market crash that happened back in the 80s, apparently the show is basically saying that he is the one that created the conditions for Black Monday, which is the title of the show. So, but it's basically, it talks a lot about, about sort of the inner workings of these big banks, these big corporate banks, and how they work with each other on the inside to create these deals, and all the shadiness that goes on, the wild relationships, and all the cocaine that people were doing. It's a nut show. It's totally funny. I think you would like it because you really like the finance stuff. So there's an element of that, but it's on Showtime. It's got Don Cheadle and can't remember the other woman's name. Some other actors you'll recognize in there, but it's a good show. So, but it's called Black Monday.
My folks, Support Gaming, is asking me what's my opinion of Power Book 2 Ghost. What you think is going to happen? I don't. It's up for grabs, man. Mary J's in it. We know Tasha done gone to jail, and she's going to probably for sure get out. Tariq is going to be on them streets. They could go a whole lot of ways. I'm just hoping it's entertaining. And a lot of us don't like the way Power ended. And so we're hoping that ending is going to lead to fruitful TV shows as they're doing like 4 or 5 different spinoffs. I think everybody's looking forward to the one with Tommy. I'm looking forward to the one with Tate. I think that one is going to be good when you're going to have the congressional element, the political element, the street element. I think that one's going to be good. No one is really asking about Tommy because we know what we're going to get from Tommy's show. We know if Tommy's in it, we know we're going to get Tommy.
Right.
All the questions.
I think most people assume it's just going to be a good show.
Right.
They're just waiting for it to come out.
Exactly. All the questions I ever get is about the one with Tariq and the one when they go back and they're going to be kids. And so we'll just have to see about those, my family. But hopefully those will be good too.
I do have to say I saw a funny meme online where someone posted a picture of Tariq and said, if 2020 had a face.
I saw that, man. I saw that. My folk Bud 703 said on Netflix he's watched 6 Underground Action, The Irishman Mafia. I think I saw that one, and it was long, but it was decent.
Yeah.
The Fall of Grace, a drama. Hey, that cat know what he's talking about.
All right.
Yeah, I like that list.
I haven't watched The Fall of Grace yet, but I've been waffling back and forth whether to put it on my list or not. But I've seen the other 2. Both of them were really good. I liked both of those.
I know something else is on Netflix everybody's talking about, and I'm going to try to check it out and do a review maybe tomorrow. The Madam C.J. Walker story.
Oh.
Yeah.
That should be good.
Yep. I'm going to try to check that out. I like cartoons, so Castlevania has come back out this year for my folks that follow us. Y'all know we still black nerds at heart. So I ain't gave up on that. That has
Right.
come back out. And I did catch Superman Red Sun.
Yeah, that was good. I
decent.
just finished
Yeah,
watching that.
yeah, that was straight too.
Yeah, that was. You know what I haven't watched yet? I've been meaning to watch. I just haven't got to it. Is Wonder Woman Bloodlines. I haven't watched that one yet. It's been on my list for a minute. I need to watch that.
I want to say I watched it, but I forgot. I might have to go back and check that out too. Now,
Right.
if DC do anything right, DC gets the cartoons right. Now,
Yeah,
they might not do well on the big screen, but man, they get them cartoons right.
I'll tell you what movie was so disappointing, y'all. That just it hurt me. Was Birds of Prey with Harley Quinn, because it was just like, I love Margot Robbie playing that role. She's so great in that role, but the movie had no story. It had no plot. It was just it was like they said, we have this great character, let's just put her on the screen. Mm-hmm. But the movie was so stupid. It was just so stupid.
Tell us why you mad, son. Tell us why you mad.
Man. I mean, it's just like when you see somebody has that plays a role that good, that does so well in the role, and you're just like, you should take full advantage of that. You should say, okay, we're going to write the best movie that we can for her or for this movie. And instead they just said, okay, we'll just throw it out there. And we're just going to come up with some dumb plot line that doesn't really make any sense and doesn't really have any, any legs to it. Like all the superhero movies or super villain movies, if you want to call them that, their first solo movie, they all had a lot of backstory. Like you can watch the movie and for like almost the first half, almost longer, almost 3/4 of the movie, you will get backstory. You got almost none of that with Harley Quinn. And if you watch the comic books, you don't really care so much. I mean, if you read the comic, you know what her backstory is. But for the movie, it needed that. It just didn't really get it. It was just dumb. The movie was dumb. It was disappointing. Like I just tell you, some of the movies I've watched recently that I was expecting to be good just were not. Like that was dumb. Queen and Slim, I hated that movie.
What?
Queen and Slim was garbage, man. I hated that movie.
Wow.
Hated it with a capital H. Look, and here, let me just say this. First of all, you are married to a black professional. Mm-hmm. I am married to a black professional. My mother is a black female attorney. This woman in this show, black female attorney. How many black female professionals have you ever met, ever, who act like she acted? I mean, that shit is just utterly ridiculous. I don't know any black female attorney who deals in criminal defense, who literally just had one of her clients put to death that day, was going to be up there in a car getting pulled over by a white police officer in Cleveland, and all of a sudden they're going to be popping shit. I mean, come on, man. No, if anything, she would have told dude, stay calm, give him your registration, your license, and don't say anything else. Just simply hand him the paperwork. Don't say anything. Answer everything with yes or no, and that's that. Instead, she wants to pop shit. What did he do? Why are you acting this way? He has rights. Blah, blah, blah. Man, get the fuck out of here with that shit.
Tim, I told you I was going to get Larry on the road. I told you. I know how to poke the bear.
Man, I hated that movie. It was garbage. It was straight garbage. Okay. I mean, it's like you want to come up with some sort of Bonnie and Clyde love story or something. You couldn't come up with something better than that. I mean,
my folks support gaming mentioned Stranger Things, and bruh, we are black nerds, man. Yeah, we watch Stranger Things.
Yeah, Stranger Things is solid.
Do I need to go put on my too tight Stranger Things t-shirt?
Did you watch The Witcher?
Oh, you better believe it.
Yeah, I liked it. I'll be honest with you. I felt like it was a little convoluted. It was hard to follow some of the storylines in there. I felt like they needed to clean it up a little bit, but it was still good.
I would say it's kind of like Game of Thrones. To really understand it, you either have had to have played the video game, know the comic, or you got to watch it like twice, and then you kind of fall into what they're trying to do up there. But I thought that was a good first season. The only reason I don't review those kind of shows is because my audience tends to not respond to the nerdy shows I watch. They only respond to when I do Power or ABC for Life. I can't, for whatever reason, I can't get those people to also follow me when I'm doing like the nerdy things. Maybe I need to start making that issue to push this year. Just start pushing more of the nerdy stuff. But we are some of the most diverse people you're going to find on YouTube watching everything. We find joy in all kinds of shows.
You know, I'll tell you a movie I watched the other night that I did not think I was going to like it. I kind of just watched it because I was editing and I was like, yeah, this is some garbage I can put on and just let it play in the background. I won't really care. But that movie, Jexy, and it was actually really funny. Now, it was about the guy who's basically his cell phone, the AI in his cell phone basically falls in love with him.
Oh, I see. Now you about to get me on the road. I can't watch that mess, man. Bro, come on, man. Like that's the one they did with my man Jaquan. Oh, excuse me. I got cussed out the last time I called Joaquin Phoenix Jaquan Phoenix. So let me shut up. It's like
no, that's not him. No, that's you're thinking of the movie Her.
Yeah. I'm saying what you're talking about is in a similar vein.
It's in the similar vein, but this one's more of a slapstick comedy type thing.
Okay. So, yes, we watch Ozarks down there, Priscilla. We own it. We own it. We have
Ozarks legit.
Ozarks legit. Billions is legit. Homeland is really legit.
Yeah.
And this is the last season of Homeland. Ray Donovan is legit. I mean, I could go on, and I would be reviewing all these shows, but I've got to get y'all to start watching something else besides Power and the African American content I put out.
Right.
There are other shows out there. We be on it.
Yeah. There's let's see what else is going on. What other shows? Yeah, Ozark is coming back in like 4 days. It'll be back.
Yep.
So it's coming back this week.
And you said you own that Westworld, right, Larry?
Yeah, Westworld is legit. I like that. Mm-hmm. You know, I do like some of the other shows that are out there. I like, you know, like American Gods was pretty good. I don't know if that one's coming back yet.
I'm gonna give you a superhero show that is superhero, but is really, really grimy. The Boys on Amazon.
Yes.
That show go hard.
Yes, you have. If you haven't watched that, get in it.
Got to watch that show go hard.
Yeah.
Real hard. I mean, it'll make you really think about, it'll give you a different perspective on quote unquote superheroes.
Yes,
that have egos, that control government, that really are lawless and do what the hell they want to do.
Whatever.
Yeah, man. That show go hard.
And it's funny because they did mention when I remember growing up and watching some of these Superman movies and thinking, who pays for all this stuff that he destroys? When he's running around throwing people through buildings and picking up tanker trucks and dropping them on people, who's paying for all that damage? Because I can't imagine your insurance covers Superman picking up and throwing your truck, you know?
Right.
So
I mean, apparently that's what happened, bro. You know, there ain't no insurance for superheroes' collateral damage.
Yeah. Let's see. What else do I have on my list here? I don't know. Have you watched a show called Barry?
Never watched it.
Barry's a pretty good one. He's about a hitman who he takes an acting class because one of his targets is in the acting class. So he takes the acting class to get next to his target. Turns out he really likes acting. He wants to quit being a hitman, but he keeps getting drawn back in. And anyways, it's a comedy. It's on HBO. It's a comedy, so you might like it.
Okay, I'm gonna head check that one out too.
And tell me you watch Archer.
Nope.
Oh,
nope.
Oh, you're killing me.
No, man.
Have you ever seen it?
Never seen it.
Oh my gosh! Please go on Netflix or Hulu, wherever it's on, and just go look up Archer and watch it. It is hilarious. It's an animated show. It's voiced by the dude that does he does Bob's Burger too. But
okay.
I don't know if you've ever seen that, but he does that. What's her name is in it? What's that black chick's name? Oh God, I can't remember her name. Anyways, you'll see when you see her, you'll know who it is I'm talking. Let me see if I can find out what her name is.
Yeah, because you've never met a black chick in a TV show to go to waste, huh?
Aisha Tyler. Aisha Tyler's in there.
Okay.
So,
okay.
but it's I mean the show is funny. There's got a gang of people in there. It's hilarious. You'll like it. It's yeah. I don't want to say too much about it. It's about a private spy agency, it's about a group of spies who end up going into a private spy agency, but they're sort of crazy and bumbling, and Archer is like this philandering alcoholic misogynist dude, but he's like super comical, and yeah, you just got to check it out. I mean, it's sort of like an American riff on James Bond, but because his mom is like M, and he's got another dude in there who's sort of like his money penny. Anyways, you'll like it. So
here's some other shows they're telling us we should watch. Okay. There's a show called Blueberry. Top Boys, we've talked about that.
Yeah,
Mark Knott saying Yellowstone. D Money is saying watch The Account.
The Account.
Yep. Priscilla Williams said, what about Better Call Saul and Mindhunters? Priscilla, I've never seen Better Call Saul, but I keep hearing people say something about it. And one day I flipped to watch Mindhunters and then got distracted and had to go somewhere.
Let's see, The Account. I'm going to check that out, The Account. I'm going to see if I can look that up.
What's up, Nature Man? What you cooking over there, Nature Man? You having the grill out?
I don't see a show. Who said The Account? Someone said D Money. Are you talking about The Account or The Accountant? The movie.
D Money said The Account.
The Account. Okay.
Yeah. Check that out.
I'll have to try and find that.
And Nature Man said, watch Bulletproof.
Bulletproof. The TV, is that a TV show or a movie?
Got me on that one. I be having a hard time trying to juggle all these different genres I do on this channel, man. I be juggling, and I feel like I be juggling on one leg sometimes, but I be juggling.
Oh, man.
Yeah, man.
Do any of you watch The Neighborhood on CBS?
Okay.
It's sort of a family friendly, show with Cedric the Entertainer.
Oh yeah, I tried to watch that, man. I couldn't get into it.
Yeah, it's sort of funny.
I couldn't get into it. I do be on Trevor Noah and John Oliver. Man, John Oliver be having me cracking up. That dude be funny, man. He be killing me. Okay.
Yeah, I love some John Oliver.
My folk Jermaine Young said The Shy. That's about to come back on. It's got the homie Candy Burris up there. And y'all know my wife forces me to watch The Real Housewives of Atlanta. I like that show. I'm forced to watch that show. And y'all know I follow Candy because I used to listen to Escape. I took my wife to the Escape concert. So for the love of a good wife and wanted her to have teenage nostalgia, I took her to see Candy. So I follow Candy, and I might follow her over there to The Shy. But they also got Artificial Bud up there too from Power. Miss Anthony.
Oh, wait.
Lala Anthony is going to be on The Shy this season.
Is she really?
Yep.
That's crazy. I didn't know that. All right. And so we do in her and Candy.
Yep. And Priscilla, we do recommend Top Boys. It's real good.
Yeah, Top Boy is good. For some people, they may like the newer season better than the first season, and you can watch the latest season without watching the older one. But I feel like if you watch the older one first, you'll get a little bit better idea of who the characters are. Mm-hmm. But it's not like mandatory viewing. Okay. So, but the second season is definitely good. The newer season, the one that I think didn't like Drake and LeBron or somebody produce that or funded or
They did it. They did the production on it because
Yeah.
it was just kind of dangling out there, man. And in case y'all didn't know, and this has nothing to do with TV shows, a lot of the movie houses are going to be making their movies straight to video on demand.
Yeah,
now,
they already have actually.
Yeah. Now, my fear with this is the movie theaters have been lobbying for a very long time not to allow movies to go straight to video on demand because
Right.
in all honesty, the technology has been there to do it for a long time. Some of y'all got TVs that are better than the movie screens you go sit in.
Right.
And it's going to be just like with video games because GameStop and places like that were lobbying back in 2012 when I went to E3 not to take the games off disc. And now y'all see that all the new generations of video game systems is pretty much all downloadable content.
Right.
At some point in time, ladies and gentlemen, you can't stop technology. You've got to figure out how to adapt to it and do better. But I do think that there's going to always be a small smidgen of certain movies you are going to want to go to the theaters with. But I could be wrong because me and my wife got a nice surround sound system. And if we want to geek out with Avengers and put on our T-shirts and have people over, we can have a nice thing over here. That's for real. So,
and that's going to be the tricky part with the whole day and date thing with with the movies is that if you're charging $19 for people to watch at home, I mean, for one, as soon as you watch at home, I like all the movies that they've recently put out that we're going to be in the theaters, but now are streaming on demand right now. Those movies are already up on bootlegs. So you can already get like an HD version of it off of BitTorrent or something. So they're losing money there to some extent. But also, like you said, if you were going to take your wife out to, you took her out to an Escape concert, well, what if you were going to take her to a movie? It may cost both of you guys, $15 or $20 for a movie ticket. Well, now if you pay $20 for the movies, both of you sit at home, or like you said, you can invite over 5 or 10 friends. Everybody sits around. It costs $20 to rent the movie. You invite 5 people over. Everybody pitches in a couple bucks. It doesn't really cost anybody anything.
Right. And ain't nobody going to be checking your pocketbooks for dollar store snacks.
Right.
You can bring in all the dollar store snacks you want to bring in somebody's house and eat them up. Them up.
I guess my concern is that are the studios, well, I wonder if they'll make enough money if they send everything straight to on demand, because it's not going to be the same thing where you send, 2 people go to the movies and you get 2 people paying to see the movie. If you pay $19 to rent it, you can have yourself and your wife and your kids and everybody else there at the house. I mean, it could be one of those things where if you're sitting around, you could just say, hey, we're going to go rent the new Frozen. Why don't you bring all the kids over? And now you have a house with 10 kids in there. Everybody's watching the movie together. Well, if you were going to take 10 kids to the movie theater, that might have been, $200.
Bruh, I've been to the movie theater with 4 children. And I actually let those 4 children take my credit card and go get snacks.
That was a big mistake.
Bruh, my credit card came back. Them little Negroes charged us $73.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't even share.
They wouldn't share.
They wouldn't share nothing, man.
Oh,
I asked this boy for 1 nacho.
Oh, man.
Then I asked his friend for 2 Skittles. I mean, the nacho gonna mess up my breath. I got to do something to wash that out. These Negroes wouldn't give me nothing.
Wow. I would have taken it all back. I've been like, you're gonna share. I'm taking it all back.
Yeah, I learned my lesson. Believe me, I learned my lesson. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I got to get ready to wrap this up. I'm an expectant father. And I still got some things I got to handle before baby L gets here, who I keep telling y'all, I will not be a bubble wrap father.
Don't believe that.
I will not be wrapped around this little girl's finger.
Already is.
when this little girl holds her little hand up, dangling for my finger, I'm gonna raise it up. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just take my finger up, and I'm never gonna let her touch it. And then I'm gonna make faces at her. I will not be a rap daddy. Forget it.
Oh, do me a favor.
Mm-hmm.
Can you pan the camera over so we can see that big pile of baby stuff that's already bought and already waiting for over in the corner? All those clothes and shoes and toys and all this stuff.
Hey.
She's not even born yet. She's already got you wrapped around her finger.
How do you know that stuff is even in this room?
Because I know you.
Man, look, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. That's the end of this show. We will be doing more live, and we will get back to taking your phone calls because I know y'all love when Larry asks y'all them crazy questions.
Let me before we go, let me just point out something. He didn't deny that he already bought all that stuff. He just asked how I knew it was in the room, acknowledging the fact that he bought all that stuff already. See,
I ain't acknowledged nothing. Wrapped. I ain't acknowledged nothing. I didn't say nothing. Hell, y'all caught R. Kelly on camera screwing a 15-year-old, and he got away with it. If I don't say nothing, look, no, man, no, it ain't. There will be no footage of me sipping tea in a tutu.
Oh my goodness! So let me ask you: before we get out here, is there any movies that are coming out that you're looking forward to, or anybody else out there in the comments is looking forward to? Because there's a couple. Like for me, I'm looking forward to like the new Mutants and that kind of funny movie that's supposed to be a comedy with the Lovebirds with what's her name? Oh geez, I can't remember her name now. She has that HBO show that's out. And she's the one from Insecure. What's her name?
Golly,
Issa Rae.
Yeah,
that one, Lovebirds with her and what's his name? The dude that's gonna be the new superhero dude, the Indian dude. They're supposed to have a comedy where they accidentally end up around somebody who got killed or something. They're trying to get away and find the real killer or something. It's just sort of like a big comedy bumbling thing. So anyway, it looks like it could be funny.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Black Widow. Everybody knows before I broke up with Scarlett Johansson, I used to rock with her. Then I had to cut her loose, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm definitely looking forward to New Mutants. New Mutants was supposed to be dropped 2 years ago.
Was it really?
Yeah, man, 2 years ago.
Jeez.
And they just kept cutting and editing, chopping and editing. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. And my folks Cecil said The Banker with Samuel L. Jackson is good, and I've heard nothing but good about that. And
that was supposed to have been out last year.
Yeah, it's supposed to came out around Christmas time. Yeah, and they wound up moving it to drop to stream. So I would say, folks, y'all check that out. It's been an honor. It's been a pleasure to have y'all back up here.
Yeah,
y'all keep us informed about what's going on. Hit me on the ground with any video requests, any TV show review requests. Y'all let me know what you're watching so I can get to it. Larry, give the people your famous outro.
Yeah, you guys, thanks everyone for showing up and hanging out. And I see Nice to Nasty Lane in the house, so it's up to you. So yeah, I'm gonna do a wine and winner sometime this week. I'm not exactly sure. I have a whole bunch of stuff that I need to give away, and so make sure you come around for that. But we are out of this piece right now. So until next time, love, peace, and hair grease. Peace.